This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
The Ramah in Siman Tafresh Chav Dalet says, "V'hamadaktikim maschilim miyad b'matzah Yom Kippurim ba'asiyas haSukkah." Those who are particular in mitzvahs, they go immediately Matzah Yom Kippur to build the sukkah, to go from one mitzvah to another, presumably from the mitzvah of Yom Kippur, which is a mitzvah d'oraisa, to the mitzvah of what? What mitzvah are they going to? Presumably, the Ramah refers to the mitzvah of building a sukkah, but the mitzvah of building a sukkah? There's no mitzvah to build a sukkah. Building a sukkah is not one of the 613 mitzvahs. Which mitzvah saseh is one mekayim by building a sukkah? None. There is no mitzvah in the Torah to build a sukkah. Now, obviously, you can't be mekayim the mitzvah of sukkah without building a sukkah, but it's not a mitzvah to build a sukkah. Maybe it's a hechsher mitzvah. The same way, there's no mitzvah to carve out a shofar. You ever hear of anybody going, "Hey, Yankel, where are you going?" It's Erev Hashem, where are you going? I'm going to cut off the horn of a ram. Nobody ever heard of such a thing. You go to the store and you buy it. You ever hear of anybody, where are you going? I'm going to cut down my lulav. So, why is it that we find by the sukkah, even though it's technically not one of the 613 mitzvahs, but there is an inyan to build your own sukkah. In fact, it seems like we say regarding the building of a sukkah, mitzvah b'yosemri b'shluchai. It's a bigger mitzvah to do it yourself. Likewise, we find a similar idea by matzah. The Rosh was medaktik to bake his own matzahs. And yet we don't find anybody being mahader to get a ram and cut off the horn. And we don't find people are mahader to cut down their own hadassim and cut off the esrog themselves. Why is it that when it comes to the mitzvah of sukkah, there seems to be an inyan to build the sukkah yourself, to the point where the Ramah says to go from Yom Kippur to the building of the sukkah? We don't find this by other mitzvahs. So the Netziv, in the Hamek Shela, in his commentary to the Shiltis, sets forth a very important principle. And that is, the Netziv establishes that there's something called Hechsher Mitzvah Haksuva B'Kra, a preparation of a mitzvah that's written in the pasuk, meaning in a chanami. There is no mitzvah in the Torah to build a sukkah, there's no mitzvah in the Torah to bake matzah. But certain preparations of mitzvahs are mentioned in the Torah. The Torah says, Chag HaSukkah is ta'aseh. So it talks about the building of the sukkah. Not as a mitzvah, but it's discussed. A preparation for a mitzvah that's mentioned in the Chumash is elevated to a unique status of Hechsher Mitzvah Haksuva B'Kra. And therefore, there's a mitzvah to build your own sukkah. The Torah talks about the baking of the matzah, the making of the matzah, and therefore there is a hidur to make your own matzah. The Torah does not speak about the preparation and the making of a shofar. The Torah does not speak about the preparation and making of the dalar minim. It just says take it. And therefore there's no inyan to cut off your own lulav, esrog. You just get it. There's no inyan to make your own shofar. You just procure it. But when it comes to sukkah, medaktikim, go from the great holy day of Yom Kippur to immediately building the sukkah, to go from one mitzvah to the next. So may the Rebbe Shem always give us yata d'shmaya, yelchu mechayel hachayel, to go from one mitzvah to the next. We should always be busy to having the zchus, to performing the mitzvahs of HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.